Hello everyone and welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist and a licensed mental health counselor. Please like, share and subscribe if you enjoy the contents in this channel. This is the part 2 of the summer moon Utawel's case. I was just speaking earlier on in the part 1 about Jodisue Brown, the neighbor of Summer Moon Utawels. I was touching a bit on the family's history, especially Candice Bly Wells, who changed her name to Candice Bly on the 29th of June 2021. I always found that day to be significant and very important because a lot of changes happened on that particular day, the 29th of June 2021. That was the day that was the day Candice Bly changed her name. It was the same day that Candice Bly conducted the interview with WHJL, the famous interview in front of her yard, where she looked very sedated and she looked like she was through a lot. I don't know if she was going through a lot because of the child negligence and if something happened to Summer, or was she going through a lot because she's too sedated and high and drunk, I believe. I'm being honest. You could see in that whole interview, there were so many things that did not settle with any of us. It looked like, I'll never forget the red flags in that interview when Don said that, when they asked her, do you think Summer's alive? And he said, she could be alive, or we don't know, she could be dead somewhere. That could be a possibility. And then you see Candice Wells looking with like owl eyes. She opened her eyes wide, and I personally believe she found out that Dawn Wells did something to Summer because she went and changed her name. She told Ensley Daniels that she wants to be called Candice Bly, and she's no longer called Candice Bly Wells. That is important for me. Out there, the TBI and Sheriff Ronnie Lawson must have caught on to that. Jodisue Brown's story has never made sense. It's never sat well with me. She said her son heard an animal scream. She said, but it wasn't an animal. And she said that she heard a door slamming, but still she did not bother to go outside and check if the neighborhood and if her neighbors were doing well. Kind of strange. Another thing that I've always paid attention to Jodisue from June, July, is that Jodisue Brown just dodges important questions. I remember I used to ask her in Amno Tank's Investigators channel and many other channels. I used to ask her a couple of questions and she would always ignore my questions. At the start, I took it personally. I thought that she just didn't like answering to me. But then I saw many other channels and many other people complaining about the same thing too, saying that as soon as we ask an important question, she either blocks them or gets upset or moves on from the conversation. So I personally believe that this woman is hiding more than she's telling us. And then we have her on this clip in part 1, where she's saying she found out that somebody in the chat told her that your ex-partner Andy will be going on a certain YouTube channel to talk about what he saw. Immediately her her demeanor changed completely. She said, why don't you talk to him and ask him why he's touching what he was doing, providing drugs to the wells and the people in the property, the children in the property. She said that Andy was providing drugs to the children and he was touching up little girls. Little girls is obviously not one girl, so I wonder who she's talking about. She means Summer Wells, and I wonder who are the other girls that Andy was touching. Or is this all just a big fat lie for Jodisue to throw Andy in the bus? We don't know. Under the bus. Maybe Andy is actually innocent, or maybe Andy and Jodisue are guilty. It shocks me and hurts me that this woman shows no empathy, no emotions for Summer Moon Utwells and her brothers. I know people have different opinions, but I personally, you'll know that I believe that this is not abduction. This is far from abduction. That's the reason the TBI are involved, because they can sense that there's foul play with everything with them. Usually an Amber Alert just goes on for serious things. It's been a year and 3 months. If somebody came and abducted Summer Moon Utwells, by now they would have been asking for a ransom. If somebody abducted Summer Moon Utwells, there would have been more on it. And we've heard the TBI mentioning that it could be anything. It could be abduction, it could be foul play. They always say somebody knows something. And that line, somebody knows something, I don't believe is abductor knows something. No, it means somebody in the neighborhood knows something that they're hiding. And I think that somebody we already know is Jodisue Brown and Andy. Then we had Allison, his mother, telling Jonathan Lee and Molly Golightly and Bullhorn Betty and Olivia, I believe, Chronicles with Olivia, she was telling them all that the children were being given drugs to. They were fed by the wells, the parents, the children were giving their children. The children were getting drugs and were being sedated by the mother and father. So let's bear in mind that this could be really possible, because this is the second person from a separate family that has told us. I'm not saying that Allison's mother or Jodisue Brown are credible people and are honest and genuine people to listen to, but I'm saying we need to dig into that and check what's up. I wish Jonathan Lee and the people who've been conducting interviews in Tennessee could find the time to speak to, was her name Sherry? Yeah, Sherry. That is Allison's mother. Because I believe she knows a lot and she's going to say a lot, especially when she was telling us about Hunter looked completely destroyed. He saw something and he witnessed something and he wouldn't come out of his room and all. You saw how Allison got angry and she was yelling, no, no, no. And then she walked into the house. She was away for a while and then she got back. I've been paying attention to all of these things from the start, and I was always wondering, Why doesn't Alison let her mother speak? The mother was actually saying a lot of interesting things that Jodisue Brown is trying to confirm now. But the only thing that Jodisue Brown is lying about is that whatever Andy was up to, and the Wells, I believe Jodisue had a big part in it, a serious big role in it. I used to always say that Jodisue Brown is lying because the abduction theory. I never believed in the abduction theory. And it seems like it's becoming more in the foul play direction. When Jodisue Brown started supporting Dawn Wells and Candice Wells and saying that they are good parents, guys, you remember that? That is the time I knew something's not right. She said, Candice is a loving mom. I'm sure she's a loving mom in her own weird ways. She could be a loving mom, but she looks like a very irresponsible mother, a very careless mother who neglected not only these 4 babies, but the previous 2 babies too. The same is with Donald Wells. He has many other cases on him. I think that these people need to be investigated properly, guys. Like I mentioned in part 1, Alison never sits right with me either. I'm not saying that she did something, but I really believe that she knows more than she's saying. I've always said Alison, Jodisue Brown, Dawn Wells and Candice Wells and Hunter and even Leslie, they know what happened. I'm even sure that the people up in Ben Hill, all the neighbors, know exactly what happened to Summer. Guys, I hate to say this, but we need to think that Summer could have actually been sold or been hurt badly. If these people were giving the children drugs, like Jodisue Brown is saying, and these children were sedated, they could easily have had a massive overdose. And it depends what kind of drugs were they giving them. Was that the drugs and painkillers that Candice's mother, Candy Harrow, went to pick up that day? These poor babies didn't have a chance with such evil monsters. Even the way Dawn talks about Summer, I try not to get into that, but as a mental health counselor, it doesn't sit right with me. It sounds more like a SCX offender, especially the part when he's saying that Summer would sleep in the same bed with me. He was asked, what was the last you remember, Summer? He said, her legs were touching mine and all that. Trigger warning. So when people say that maybe it's Candice, Dawn who did it, so they should arrest only him, no. Whatever charges they give Dawn, they should give Candice. Whatever charges they give Candice, they should give Dawn. Because both the parents are aware of what was happening. Candice was aware and she decided to stick to this man. You saw the day, guys, when Ernie Shell was asking her questions. And he said, did you know that your Dawn was having a shower with Summer? And she pretended that she did not know it. And they said, what would you do if you find that out? I think he played a recording for her, or he showed her some kind of proof, and then she started getting hysterical. Oh, no. She let it go. She just she dodged it off. She's saying that she never knew that such behavior was going on. Well, Candice is a big fat liar, I can tell you all that, because the expressions on her face were showing a different story. Another thing is, if Candice knew that Dawn was having showers with, what's her name, poor Summer, then I believe that Grandis Candy Hera, aka Candy Hera, was aware of that too. Do you all remember that Allison said before that the deal was when Summer was born, if she turned to be a girl, she turned out to be a girl, then Candy Hera would be adopting her. Because Candy Hera definitely knew what Dawn was up to. Strangely enough, the clothes that Summer Moon Wells was last seen with was a school uniform. So sad. The question is, were they at home when something happened? That is the reason they put on a school uniform. I've always been thinking before too, if that picture is real, guys, let's think about it. If it's real, that clip of Summer in a very uncomfortable way, sitting in the car with her lips blue-purple, her eyelids look blue-purple, her skin color and the texture is concerning. I'm starting to wonder, we always knew that Candice is a liar. She's lying. What if that picture was taken not on their way home? What if that picture was taken on the way where they were going to drop some off? Or if they're going to bury her or hide her, God forbid. Because now it makes sense to me. I just thought of it. Because didn't Candice tell Grandis, is she moving her hand? And then Grandis said, no. And then she said, that's what I thought. So could there have been maybe Summer overdosed and Candice was driving her to Dawn, or was driving her to hide her or do a cover up, and maybe she was still worried and she asked, is she moving her hand? That could make actually sense, guys. Oh my God. And then Candy Hera must have said, no, she's not, no. And then she said, that's what I thought. So that means she must have thought, okay, that's it. Now we have to go and hide Summer, get rid of Summer, God forbid. That would make more sense. Because even the timing on that clip, if I'm not mistaken, it was 2-something, 14-something or something. And do not forget, the timelining doesn't make sense for 3.5 hours, guys. So that clip had to be on their way back to wherever they were taking Summer. They were going to hide poor Summer and do their cover. I'm sure when that happened, this is my speculation, guys, and my thoughts, I'm sure Candice went home. She called Jodisue Brown, told her what happened. She must have said, listen, if I get busted, I'm going to bust y'all too, because it was Andy who was providing us that nasty drugs, and something happened to Summer and she overdosed, and it has to be your drug. So I'm going to say it is from Andy. And then maybe Jodisue must have said, calm down, sit down, let's think about it. How about we say abduction happened? Because Jodisue Brown looks like a person who can manipulate situations and maneuver things very easily. There's a reason that Dawn is doing all the talking and Jodisue. You don't see Candice talking for a good reason. Because Candice is so doped up and so drunk that she would have told on all of them, even on herself and her mother and the neighbors and the postman and everyone. Candice is not to be trusted. So they told Candice to stay in the background. Then the hero came in, that is Jodisue Brown, and she said, let's maneuver things here. Now, this is what we're going to say. We're going to say abduction happened, yeah? Guys, this is allegedly, these are my thoughts, yeah? She must have said, let's say that an abduction happened, and don't worry, I'm going to say I heard it from my yard. I heard a car slamming. I heard an animalistic scream. She must have told her 19-year-old son, darling, you have to help me, otherwise Andy's going to get arrested and he's going to blame me too. We all are in trouble. So this is what you're going to say. And let's leave the 13-year-old sister of yours out of this so that they don't ask her too many questions that she doesn't set. I'm telling you, it has to have happened that way. Because